What if I told you that the secret to making any woman completely obsessed with you lies not in chasing her, but in walking away? Sounds counterintuitive, right? Society has conditioned men to believe that persistence and showering women with attention is the ultimate strategy. But here's the hard truth. Chasing often makes you look desperate, and desperation is the fastest way to kill attraction. The real power? It lies in the art of doing nothing. That's right, absolutely nothing. It's called no contact, and it's not just a breakup strategy, it's a psychological weapon. This tactic flips the script and puts you in control. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude confidence and self-control. By removing yourself from her life, physically and emotionally, you create a void that her mind can't ignore. She starts wondering, why isn't he calling? What is he doing? Who is he with? These questions consume her thoughts and create an irresistible pull. But here's the twist. No contact isn't just about silence. It's about using psychological tricks to amplify your absence and make her crave your presence. This isn't manipulation for the sake of being cruel. It's about understanding human nature. People value what they can't easily have. When you withdraw your attention, you signal that you're not just another guy willing to jump at her beck and call. You're different. You're desirable. You're unforgettable. In this video, we'll explore 10 dark psychology tricks to master the no-contact strategy and make any woman obsessed with you. These aren't gimmicks or shallow games. They're psychological principles rooted in human behavior. From creating mystery to leveraging scarcity, each trick will teach you how to shift the power dynamic in your favor. Whether you're dealing with a breakup, a rocky relationship, or you just want to take control of your love life, these strategies will not only captivate her, but also transform the way you approach attraction. Ready to change the game? Let's dive in. Silence speaks louder than words. Silence is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction, and when it comes to relationships, it becomes a game changer. Why? Because silence creates intrigue. It forces the other person to fill in the gaps, and it drives attention towards you without you lifting a finger. Most men believe that constant communication is the key to building connection and keeping interest alive. However, silence flips the script entirely. When you go silent, you're telling her something without saying anything at all. I am unbothered, I am in control, and my world doesn't revolve around you. That kind of energy is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to men who appear independent and emotionally secure. Silence communicates that you are not dependent on her validation, which makes you infinitely more attractive. But here's the catch. This isn't about playing hard to get or ghosting. This is about using silence intentionally, especially when emotions are high or the dynamic feels off balance. Silence works because it triggers curiosity and taps into her desire to seek closure. If you're always available and responsive, there's no room for her to wonder about you, and wonder is what sparks obsession. Let's consider a scenario. Imagine you've had an argument, or maybe the communication feels one-sided. Instead of texting her multiple times or trying to explain yourself, you simply stop. You don't argue, you don't justify, and you certainly don't beg for her attention. The silence is deafening, not because you're being cruel, but because it creates a vacuum. Here's where the magic happens. In the absence of your voice, her mind starts working overtime. She might start thinking, why hasn't he reached out? Did I go too far? Is he seeing someone else? That internal dialogue does the heavy lifting for you. Suddenly, she's the one replaying conversations. analyzing your last interaction and feeling the urge to reconnect. Silence also allows you to maintain your composure. Instead of reacting emotionally, you demonstrate that you're composed, confident, and unshaken. This level of control is rare, and women notice it instantly. It communicates that you are not just a man who reacts. You are a man who thinks and acts with purpose. In relationships, silence isn't about punishment. It's about creating space for reflection and mystery. It's about reclaiming your power by refusing to engage in unnecessary noise. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you appear less, your presence becomes more valuable. In the end, silence is not the absence of communication. It's a deliberate strategy. It forces her to see your worth through the emptiness you leave behind. The mystery effect. Become an enigma. Mystery is irresistible. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. When a man becomes an enigma, he becomes unforgettable. Most men make the mistake of oversharing, putting all their cards on the table too soon. While openness has its place, too much transparency kills curiosity, and curiosity is the seed of obsession. When you're mysterious, you control the narrative. A woman begins to wonder who you truly are, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. That intrigue keeps her mind on you because she's trying to solve the puzzle. It's like a magnetic pull, and the harder you are to figure out, the more she feels compelled to try. Being mysterious doesn't mean you have to fake who you are or act distant without reason. It's about revealing less and leaving room for her imagination to fill the gaps. For instance, instead of telling her every detail of your day, share only the highlights. Say enough to pique her interest, but not so much that she feels she knows everything about you. People crave what they can't fully grasp, and mystery keeps her engaged. Imagine this scenario. You've been texting regularly, but today you're brief, and your tone is different. When she asks how your day went, instead of giving a long explanation, you say, "It's been interesting. I'll tell you about it sometime." Then you change the subject or take a step back from the conversation. You've planted a seed in her mind. What happened? Why isn't he saying more? This small moment creates an air of mystery, and she'll find herself replaying it, trying to piece it together. Another way to cultivate mystery is through unpredictability. If you always behave the same way, she'll figure you out quickly, and the intrigue will fade. Change things up occasionally. Be the man who keeps her guessing, not in a way that confuses or frustrates her, but in a way that excites her. Maybe one day you're talkative and playful. The next, you're introspective and reserved. This dynamic keeps her intrigued because she never knows what to expect. The key to mystery is subtlety. It's not about creating false drama or being overly secretive. It's about holding back just enough to make her want to know more. When you're a mystery, you become a challenge, and challenges are incredibly attractive. Ultimately, mystery makes you unforgettable. It ensures you're not just another guy she figures out and moves past. Instead, you become the man she can't stop thinking about, the one who lingers in her mind long after you've left the room. Scarcity creates desire. Have you ever noticed how people value something more when it's hard to find or unavailable? This principle applies to relationships just as much as it does to material things. Scarcity is one of the most powerful psychological triggers, and when used correctly, it can make you irresistible. When you're always available, you risk becoming too predictable, or worse, taken for granted. People naturally undervalue what they have in abundance. Think about it. How often do we fail to appreciate the sunrise until we can't see it for days. The same logic applies to your presence in someone's life. If you're constantly around, texting, or calling, you lose the allure of exclusivity. Women, like anyone else, are drawn to what feels rare and unique. When you make your time and attention scarce, you immediately increase your perceived value. Suddenly, you're not just another guy blowing up her phone, you're someone she has to work to connect with. And that effort makes you stand out. But scarcity isn't about playing games or ghosting. It's about being intentional with your energy and presence. When you focus on your own life, goals, and interests, you naturally become less available. This not only makes you more attractive, but it also shows that you're a man with purpose, a quality women find highly desirable. Scarcity also works because it triggers a psychological phenomenon called fear of missing out, or FOMO. When she senses that she doesn't have constant access to you, she begins to wonder, what's he up to? Who's he with? Why isn't he reaching out? These questions create an emotional response, making her crave your presence even more. Think about it. Isn't it always the case that the things we can't have hold a strange power over us? It's why exclusive events, limited edition items, and rare experiences feel so special. When you carry yourself like a man who doesn't need to be everywhere or with everyone, you create that same effect. In the end, scarcity isn't about withholding. It's about demonstrating self-worth. When you value your own time and energy, others will naturally value it too. The result? She'll start seeing you not as an option, but as a rare prize worth pursuing. Trigger her fear of loss. Men often underestimate the power of loss in shaping emotions. Let's be real. Too many men give away their power by acting as if they'll always be there, no matter what. But here's the truth. When someone believes they can't lose you, they stop trying to keep you. It's human nature. If you're constantly chasing her, apologizing for things you didn't do, or bending over backward to keep her attention, you're sending a dangerous message. I'm always available, and I'll always be here. This kind of behavior doesn't inspire attraction. It breeds complacency. Why would she put in effort when she knows you're not going anywhere? It's time to wake up and recognize that scarcity and loss are powerful motivators. Women, like anyone else, value what they fear losing. If she thinks you'll stay, no matter how she treats you, she won't feel compelled to prioritize you. On the other hand, if she senses, even subtly, that she might lose you, her attention and effort will shift. Triggering a fear of loss doesn't mean you need to manipulate or play games. It means showing that you're not afraid to walk away if you're not being valued. A man who respects himself enough to step back when necessary commands respect from others. Think about it. When you carry yourself with this level of self-assurance, you communicate that you're a man of value, someone she can't afford to lose. Here's the harsh truth. Some of you are too soft when it comes to setting boundaries. You let disrespect slide because you're afraid of confrontation or being alone. But this only leads to resentment and an unbalanced relationship. You need to stop being afraid of losing her and start being afraid of losing yourself. When you stand your ground, you change the dynamic. She starts to see you in a different light. You're no longer just the guy who's always there. You're someone with standards, someone she has to earn. And that shift is what triggers her fear of loss. The bottom line, stop giving away your power. Be the man who knows his worth and isn't afraid to walk away from situations where he's not valued. When you do, you'll find that she's the one working to keep you in her life, not the other way around. The power of silence. Silence is a weapon most men fail to use effectively. In a world full of noise, constant notifications, endless conversations, and over-explanations, silence stands out. And when used correctly, it can be incredibly powerful. Let's face it, many men feel the need to fill every gap with words, especially when they're nervous or trying to impress someone. They over-communicate, explaining their intentions, emotions, and plans in painstaking detail. But here's the catch. When you always speak, you leave no room for her to wonder, question, or reflect. Silence creates space, and in that space, obsession grows. Why is silence so powerful? Because it's unexpected. When you don't respond right away, or choose not to explain yourself, you disrupt the usual pattern. This subtle shift forces her to think about you more. She wonders why you're quiet, what you're thinking, and whether she's done something to cause it. The mind hates unanswered questions, and silence is the perfect tool to plant those seeds of curiosity. Silence also conveys control. A man who can embrace silence demonstrates emotional strength and self-discipline. He doesn't feel the need to react to every situation or explain himself constantly. Instead, he holds his ground, showing that he's comfortable with himself. This quiet confidence is magnetic and makes her see you as someone worth her attention and respect. But let's be clear, silence isn't about playing childish games, like ignoring her to gain power. It's about being intentional. Maybe you choose not to reply immediately because you're focused on your goals. Or perhaps you don't over-explain during a disagreement, letting your actions speak louder than words. This kind of silence isn't passive-aggressive, it's strategic. Here's the thing. Silence forces her to sit with her thoughts. In those quiet moments, she starts to replay interactions with you, analyze your behavior, and question her own actions. And that mental focus on you creates a deeper emotional connection. So men, stop undervaluing silence. It's not a sign of weakness or disinterest, it's a statement of power. When used wisely, silence can make her think about you constantly, wonder about your intentions, and even miss you when you're not around. It's a subtle, yet incredibly effective way to stay in her mind and heart. Here's the harsh reality. You don't need to chase anyone to be valued. The moment you understand and embrace the principles we've discussed today, you'll realize that the true power lies in your ability to control yourself, not anyone else. The real question is, are you willing to step up and become the kind of man who commands attention effortlessly? But let me leave you with something controversial to think about. If she doesn't fear losing you, she doesn't truly value you. It's a bold statement, but one rooted in the truth of human psychology. People only invest deeply in what they feel could slip away. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever used any of these techniques, even unintentionally, and noticed a shift in someone's behavior? Or maybe you've been on the receiving end of them and realized how powerful they can be. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments. I'll be reading them and responding to connect with each of you. Remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding what makes people tick and using that knowledge to build better connections. Let's continue the conversation below. I'm looking forward to hearing your stories.